Today we're looking at something pretty interesting, the SmallRig RF10C. Right now it sells about $53 and the idea behind this thing is simple. It is probably the most affordable way to throw shaped light patterns onto your background. Normally, to get this kind of look, you need a COB light, then add either a spotlight mount or a projection attachment. And it doesn't stop there, because with those systems, you also have to buy gobos and gobo holders separately. So by the time you add all that up, your budget takes a huge hit. But the RF10C is a self-contained little unit. It doesn't need a COB. It is tiny, portable, and rechargeable via USB-C. And it even comes with 20 gobos right in the box. So on paper, it is fun and accessible way to get creative lighting without breaking the bank. Now let's start with the good stuff. The biggest selling point is obviously the price. It is way cheaper than the traditional setups. It is practical too. It has a built-in 7500 mAh battery with multiple mounting points on different locations like the sides and the back. And the whole thing is small enough to just throw your bag and go. Plus, the included gobos mean you can start experimenting immediately. No extra purchases required. But of course, there are compromises. First off, focus. The RF10C does have a zoom adjustment, like this, but there's no way to adjust focus, which means the patterns you throw on your background are always a bit soft. You can move this unit physically closer to get it sharper, but then your projection shrinks down. So most of the time, you're left with slightly blurry shapes. The second issue is brightness. This is just a 10-watt light, and that's really not enough for most situations. To get a usable image, you'll often need to crank up your ISO, which introduces noise and lowers overall image quality. So while it technically works, it is far from ideal. To put this into perspective, it helps to look at how alternatives work. A spotlight mount takes your COB light and concentrates it, making it brighter and usable from further away. A projection attachment, on the other hand, eats up a ton of output because light has to pass through lenses and gobos, which kills a lot of intensity. The RF10C sits somewhere in the middle. It is nowhere as bright as a COB with spotlight, so it can't be used effectively from distance. But because it's designed to be used very close to your background, it can actually look brighter than a COB with a projection attachment, despite its low wattage. The trade-off is that you end up with smaller shapes since you have to place it so close. Then there is the RGB situation, or lack thereof. This isn't a true RGB. Instead, you just get 4 diodes: red, orange, blue, and white. No fine control, no saturation adjustment, and no in-between tones. And since each color comes with a different diode, the actual point the light lands shifts every time you change color. So you'll need to re-aim the light each time you swap color. Now, to be fair, there are still positives. It is small, light, rechargeable, and portable. The mounting options are decent, and having 20 gobos in the box is generous at this price point. For quick, fun, and creative shots, it works, but in an extended use, the lack of focus, the low brightness, and the limited color options are always there in the background. Literally. So, what's the verdict? Well, the SmallRig RF10C is a really fun concept. It is cheap, portable, and makes creative lighting accessible for everyone. But it is not a professional solution. If SmallRig eventually adds proper focus, bumps the output to the 20 or 30 watts, and gives us a true RGB with better lensing, then this thing could actually become a serious tool. Right now, it is more of a niche toy for a small group of creators. If you keep your expectations realistic, it can be a fun addition to your kit. But don't expect miracles. It is very much a first-gen product. And honestly, I can't wait to see what the version 2 looks like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.